The Rings of Power, episode 6 of season 2, now out. So let's talk about it. Okay, so the newest episode of season 2 of The Rings of Power is now on Amazon Prime for you guys to go and check out right now. And last week's episode, I actually enjoyed. I enjoyed lots of parts of it. There's some storylines not really that interested in. So I was hoping episode 6, please just continue on the trajectory of going upwards, not going backwards. And I'm going to say it. I think this might be my favorite episode of this season so far. I actually really enjoyed this. Now, the things that I really enjoyed was the Sauron stuff. Man, Sauron is cooking right now. That man is manipulating everyone into doing what he wants done. And I'm loving that aspect of how they are using Sauron in that way. Because we're so used to comic book movies and stuff like that where the villain, it's a physical battle. Let's just say it. It's a physical battle. Most battles end up to be a physical warfare. It's all about who's stronger, who's got the bigger army and stuff like that. Sometimes it's very refreshing to have a character who is a villain who doesn't always resort to power to win. Instead, uses his IQ, uses his brain to manipulate people into doing what he wants them to do in order to achieve his goals. And that is on display here by Sauron. I mean, the moment where he tells him, like, you know, when the blacksmith's like, oh, did you hear those? You hear those things out there going on? I need to go check what's going on outside. And as he goes outside, Sauron manipulates his mind to see what Sauron wants him to see, which is perfection outside. Nothing's wrong. You know, it's this glorious day. It's happiness in paradise. There's nothing wrong. And then having that conversation with him to try and manipulate him to be like, look, man, everything's all good. We need to complete these rings, man. We have to do it. And then him with the sneaky, I've got it. I've got what we need after seeing the dwarves. And so Sauron is knowing what he wants and knowing how to get it is just so awesome to see and just so compelling that he is now the character that I want to see more on screen. I want to see how his plan is going to unfold because we know he's orchestrating the orcs as well. And Adar is not realized that just yet. And Galadriel and Adar, their conversation, I really enjoyed that aspect as well. I was waiting to see what was going to happen with them and how they were going to talk. And, you know, Galadriel is telling him about, like, you know, this is who Sauron is. This is what's going to happen. And that we need to combine forces to stop this guy right now. And Adar's like, I'm just getting information out of you. And I know what I was going to do. And then Galadriel picks up like, wait a second. Sauron wants us to come. He wants you to bring his army there. You can't do this. And Adar obviously being blind because he wants to snuff this out because it's the biggest threat to him and his orcs is Sauron. So he wants to snuff that out completely. But at the same time, it's like he's playing into the hands of Sauron. So that to me was all great. I really, really like that as well. Then you have the stuff with the dwarves. And I'm enjoying the stuff with the dwarves as well because Durin and his father, they're going at it. And Durin is slowly seeing his father, you know, go away and become this different person that he doesn't know. And it's epitomized in that scene when Sauron comes and says, look, we need this, we can provide this and stuff like that. We can give you all this you want. Playing that greed sort of card to the king, where the king's like, I've already made up my mind. No. And then Durin's like, wow, Dad, I actually thought you were going to, you know, do it all. And I'm glad that you come to your senses. And then he comes back and goes, no, there's a war coming. We have all the cards in our hand. Everything. We have the strongest hand right now. They need us. And when they do come back, we can name the price that we want. So greed, again, going through, becoming the main focal point for the king. And this is where Durin then says to him, take off the ring. Prove to me that you're still there. Prove to me that it's not the ring. You're not the slave to the ring. The ring's a slave to you. And he doesn't. And this is where Durin's now having that internal struggle where he knows, he still looks at the guy and it's his dad. But he knows deep down that the person that is acting is not his dad. So it's like the shell of his dad with someone else inside of it. Pause. I know what some people would say about that. But I'm loving that dynamic that's going on there and how he's going to try and stop him. So I'm looking forward to seeing where that's going to pick up. We also have a bit of the Harfoot stuff going on as well. And to me, like I said, that is the weakest storyline so far. And I'm glad that didn't overpower this episode. So we know the stranger is looking for his stuff. We see that. But he's also torn between trying to save Nori and that. And then you have Nori down in there saying like, oh, why don't you guys just move? And then they're like, yo, well, let me tell you the family story. Like, my parents built this for me. My husband died. He's buried over there. I'm going to be buried over there with him. So we're not living. That's not how we do. And then Nori's like, oh, maybe I have to save. Maybe if I turn myself in. And then obviously you have the little love interest going on with the other ones that's going on there. Not really that interested. So you had a little bit of that storyline in there. And then you have the stuff with the awesome kingdom of the sea. And man, that was actually look, I haven't been that interested in that storyline, but this particular moment was actually good. I really enjoyed how, he stood up for who he was. He was not backing down. He's like, she's the queen. You're not. You're a traitor. You're an imposter. I'm backing my queen left, right, and center. I'm gonna die backing it. And I loved that about that character, and what makes that character more interesting is that. And then the trial that they have. I thought that was insane. And that was a pretty cool little bit of visual there. And I'm interested to see where we go with that storyline now. I have not been interested in that storyline, but now I am. Now I'm like, okay. Because of the events that just occurred, now things seem to be in a bit more of a civil war sort of state that's about to happen because of the consequences of the trial and what happened there. So this episode to me was the stronger episode. I think the dialogue and conversations were up from the previous episodes, but it's still not at that level of the wow factor like, your Last of Us, your House of the Dragons, your Game of Thrones, Bring Bags and all that sort of like TV shows where you're like listening to dialogue and you're like, this is what a show should be. You don't need action. It's just two characters in a location talking and it's just compelling. It's not quite there yet. This episode did increase and get better. So fingers crossed, the next episode is going to just keep going up. And if they just keep going up like that, I'm going to be a happy man. Because, look, it has its hits, it has its misses. It's not the perfect show. But at the moment, I'm leaning towards more of a positive, thing about this season. I'm feeling like this season is going to be better than the first season. We're just going to have to wait and see. So let me know what you guys thought of episode 6. Did you guys enjoy it? Smash it down in the comment section below. Smash that like button. Click subscribe. And I'll see you guys next video. Until then, stay safe and peace out.